Last week, we chatted to a woman from Bath who took part in the BBC show DNA Family Secrets. Lovely programme. Watching that night was Rick from Bristol, who emailed in asking if we'd like to share his DNA story. Now, brace yourselves, because this is a bit of a head-scratcher. Rick grew up thinking his mum was Irish, but a DNA test revealed he had no Irish ancestry. His mum was definitely his mum, though, no question, but it seems she wasn't entirely honest about her past. Andy Howard picks up the story. Good luck, Andy.
Rick Lovering's family isn't quite what he thought it was. A 40-year search has revealed a strange secret about his mum. For her entire adult life, she pretended to be someone else.
It was actually when my brother needed to get a passport that she told us that she wasn't actually married to my father, which started my long search of trying to find out who she really was, because she wouldn't tell us.
Rick's research found that his dad had been married before, but the relationship ended and he moved away. But they never divorced. He then met Rick's mum.
Probably got her pregnant, so he just told my mum to assume his wife's identity. He hadn't seen his wife for a few years and just hoped and prayed that she'd never turn up. And I think once that lie began, you couldn't get away from it.
But they pretended to be married and went on to have 6 children, one of which was Rick. He now knows his mum lied about being Irish and also told stories of watching football in London, going to New Zealand and even being able to speak Russian. Rick still doesn't know which ones are true. But this search changed when he had a DNA test. It revealed he had no Irish heritage at all. He found out his mum was adopted, and then he made a new family tree, which has brought him here to Poulton in Somerset and the surname Church.
John and Emily Church, who are buried over there, would be my great-grandparents, in other words, my mum's grandparents. And they had 10 children, and there was one daughter in particular, had a child we knew called Kathleen. So I ordered Kathleen's birth certificate, and when the birth certificate arrived, it actually had the same birthday as my mum. And I saw 12th of May, I said, that's her, that's her.
Rick's written all this in a book. The next story, though, will be finding people in Somerset who knew his mum, or at least think they did. Andy Howard, BBC Points West, in Poulton.
What an interesting journey. I'm delighted to say that we're joined by the DNA expert from DNA Family Secrets. That's Professor Turi King. Turi, welcome to the programme. It's nice to see you. DNA doesn't lie, does it? But people sometimes do.
Absolutely. And it just the sort of work that was done there is exactly the sort of work that we do on DNA Family Secrets in terms of tracing people's relatives for them.
But you prepare people, don't you, in advance and say, look, this might not work out exactly as you hope it will. So, it's an emotional thing, isn't it?
It is. And I mean, I've been doing this sort of thing for a couple of decades now. And it's always preparing people for the fact that they may have some unexpected findings. And the thing about DNA Family Secrets is obviously we have on board social workers and we have, psychologists and so on and so forth who support our contributors all the way through the series.
We saw in Rick's story that was all about an unmarried mother and trying to sort of cover that up. Now, that wouldn't happen these days, would it? But it was, I guess, fairly commonplace not that long ago.
It was, sadly. I mean, this is the thing about unmarried mums. It was something that was a source of shame. So, and it's such a sad story to hear that she had to go along with this pretense for so many decades and then taking that secret to the grave.
But social habits, social mores have changed, haven't they, so much now?
Oh, completely. And this is something, so when on series 1, for example, we had one of our contributors, Margaret, who was looking for her she was adopted. She was looking for her mum. And it was a not the same story, but a story where a woman from Ireland had given up her child for adoption and we were able to trace her mum for her. These days, we hardly really think about it at all, but in that time, there was a big social stigma attached to it.
I'm going to take you back much further now to the days of Richard III and the finding under the car park and your role in that, in identifying him from his DNA.
Yeah.
That must be the most exciting thing you've ever done.
Well, I don't know. DNA Family Secrets is right up there. So Richard III, yes, I led the genetic analysis, which proved that these were the remains of Richard III. So that was a really extraordinary project. And because my background was in archaeology to begin with, I was able to be on the excavation and then go all the way through and do the genetic analysis and test the DNA from the remains against living relatives of Richard III. Wow. So yeah, that was an amazing project.
I'd love to have a longer chat with you. Perhaps we will one day. Thank you so much for coming on, and well done for the show.
Thank you.